Welcome back to Art and Outdoor Life. So there's the color wheel. We're not going to worry about the color wheel here. No, we don't have to. And there is my very first painting I ever did just 2.5 years ago. And it was in one color. And look up Joe Menza Art because I learned it from him. So, what we're doing here is we're going to make a mess, okay? We are going to make a mess, but we're going to turn a good mess into something that looks fairly nice. And I'm going to show you how to do this, okay? I'm going to show you how to do this. Now, I'm in the middle of cleaning my art room, okay, which is also my music studio. Anyway, so here I am, right? I have a hake brush. It's a Ron Ranson hake brush, by the way. I suggest these over the Ron Ranson hake brushes are game changers. Okay, so as you notice, I'm not using the color wheel, right? Well, not for this scene. I'm not using it at all. But you see, I'm mixing in all these weird colors for a sky. Well, how do you fix that? Well, you take a paper towel, right? Or a napkin. Okay. Now, I've already sprayed the paper. This is a multimedia paper, so you're not going to see the granulation from the paper, the teeth. Okay. And I'm coming in here with some blue. Darker blue. If you have any questions about any of the colors I'm using in here, you feel free to ask them in the comments. Okay, so this is for beginners, okay, and I'm in a hurry here. I'm in a hurry, but I'm having fun. Okay. I'm going to tell you something real quick while I'm, painting all this with all these blues right here. For over 2 years, every single month, I've been buying these 24 packs of watercolors, right? And you can buy them for like $10. Okay, and what's the problem with that? Well, the problem with that is you don't use all those colors. And why was I buying them every month? Well, I was, painting most of the months. But what I was doing was saving up for the winter time. And in case I ever ran out of money, okay. So that's kind of like what I did. And now I have a ton of watercolor paints, colors that I've never used. So I just decided to go ahead and paint this really quick before I go ahead and I start separating my colors into freezer bags. The primaries into different, bags, and then the earth tones, the browns and such. And then all the other ones will kind of get put in other bags, freezer bags. So I put in some burnt umber, and here's some raw sienna. Okay. Now, if you notice, I'm dabbing with my brush. I'm just dabbing. Okay, everything is very wet, but not so wet that it's dripping down. Okay, and here's a few tips in case you don't know them, and if you're new at this, always have a napkin or a shop rag or maybe a washcloth or something on the side, so that you can always dry your brush off on. Okay, I always keep 2 cups of water to the side. See, there I am. I'm just drying that brush off. I always keep, and there's my palette. Look at that. Okay, I got 3 different greens, or 2 different greens, 2 different blues. I have a yellow. I have the burnt umber, burnt sienna, yellow ochre, cabbage, and red crimson. And I didn't even use some of those colors. Okay, so it looks like a mess, right? How do we fix these messes? I mean, we're here to have fun, right? So with these little cards, and you can use the palettes that come with your paint brushes, you know. But I find that these little cards are really, they work a lot easier because you literally got your finger right on the paper. Now, I am using multimedia paper, which means that a lot of the paint is not going into the paper at all. It's not going into the paper. So, now, here's a thing I do a lot. I just dab. I dab a lot. And you know what why I dab a lot is because I'm getting the water out of the paint. You know, watercolors have water in them. It's not like acrylic, where acrylic has, you know, some plastic things in them and such. Now, you're probably wondering, why did I put that green in there? Such a bright green in there. You know, I don't know. I'm just having fun. I'm just having fun. And this is what I do for my therapy. I will say this, okay? Not to be, you know, down on anybody, but for myself, I paint to help relieve stress. It helps with my depression, my panic disorders, and my PTSD. Okay, it helps. It doesn't cure it, but it helps. And it's really fun. These are fun to do. You could buy a thing of paper like that, you know, and the paints and the brushes, you know, for probably 30, maybe 40 at the most, at the very most, if you're buying them, you know, from your local, you know, store. But look at the brush marks, the brush strokes. Now, the brush strokes are already creating grass. Now, right there, I put a lot of yellow ochre on there, right? Okay. And you're gonna see this. If you haven't seen my videos before, okay, I'm always, for some reason, I'm always going back and forth, back and forth. And, you know, here's something I don't tell people. I don't tell people. And there's a fan brush. You have to have a fan brush. You got to have a fan brush. What I usually don't, I've never told anyone, I don't believe in all of my videos, I have over 100 of them here on my channel, is that it's, when I'm drying my brushes, you know, the painting is becoming more of a dry brush. But the colors and the pigments are still going to move, okay? But here's another thing I don't never talk about. When I pat the paper down and such, I'm always setting it up for something else to come through, okay? Now, I've said it a lot of times, water control is everything. So be careful on how much water you have on your brushes. And don't be afraid to mix them or whatever, because you can always use a paper towel or whatever to kind of blend it in. I use the paper towel as a blending tool as well as a drying tool. And I also use the paper towel to make clouds. Use them to make landscapes. Angles of land. Okay, so I'm putting in some yellow here, bright yellow over blue. I do this a lot. I love doing this because it makes greens. You know, it's a nice green. And so, and it for myself, you know, people do this all the time. I'm not the only one. You see how that color is, that's all that is blue and yellow mix. And the more yellow you put into it, you know, the brighter it's going to be. And the more green or more blue you put into it, it's going to turn into more of a, you know, olive, a darker green. So if you know, and yeah, it looks like, you know, I mean, you can easily say it looks like an oil painting, okay? But it's not. It's watercolor. Okay, I'm using tubes out of the tube. And here's another thing I'm very careful about. And I never used to be. I'm very careful about how much I put on my palette. Like how much out of the tube. Because I never want too much out of the tube. Because the rest of it might go to waste. Right? And on the other hand, I always want that tube available to me. In this particular painting, I'm not looking at certain kind of blues or greens. I mean, yellows. I just want a bright yellow and a couple of blues. Raw umber, or a burnt umber. I'm sorry, I didn't use any burnt umber in this. I did not use any raw umber. I used a burnt umber and a burnt sienna. Now these cards, okay, see how easy it is to, because the paint is wet, see how easy it is to, literally, you can scrape your whole painting off. And don't be afraid to use your fingers, you know, where you want, if you're scraping, don't be afraid to do that. I mean, we're having fun. We're having fun, and I'm creating a mess. But what I'm gonna do is try to make the best of it. That's what we do, right? And here's another thing. I want to say this, and it ain't no secret. You can paint and paint and paint, but I want to let you know, on the same painting I'm talking about, you can continue to keep painting, because you'll never be satisfied. And if you are, that's awesome. That's awesome. But if you just want to keep experimenting, then this is kind of what I was doing here. I didn't have nothing planned out. I knew I wanted a mountain in the back and, you know, some kind of foliage up front. I didn't even know I was going to put trees in there. So, look at that green, right? It's just sticking there. I mean, it sticks out like a sore thumb. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to pat it down because I want to dry it off. You know? I mean, I'm not going to completely dry it off. Now, getting back to something that I was talking about, I was getting ready to say, was I don't never talk about this in my videos. But if you ever look at my videos, a lot of them, you'll see me, I move around the paper or the canvas. And you might be thinking, oh, he's just, working on this and that. He's moving around. No. When I'm moving around a canvas, especially in watercolor, because watercolor does dry pretty quick, what I'm doing is once I lay something down, in general, a paint down, a part of a painting, then I'll go off to another part of the paper so that I give that area that I just left a little bit of time to dry. I'm not using hair blowers. I'm not cutting the video here. And if you ever wonder why I do that, or if you never, noticed it, that's what I do. I do that a lot. It's just something I learned. I have so much to learn. I'm always learning. And I'm learning from a lot of people. Now, this new oil painting I did, it's only a few videos back. I haven't completed it yet. And a few reasons. I was getting over a cold. And the last few days, it's been 100 degrees, and I just didn't want to sit outside and paint in 100 degrees. And also another thing. This excellent painter out of St. Louis, Missouri, Gino Santa Maria. He's not on YouTube, but you could find him on Instagram. And he kind of jolted me with how he does his fast and loose oil paintings. I was amazed. I love doing fast and loose watercolor because it's fun. It's an adventure. Joe Menza introduced me to that. And then from there I learned, I watch people like Andrew Broussard, and there's a lot of people from England I watch. They're awesome. And then I'm not here to give shout outs to everybody because there's too many people. There's too many people, absolutely. Stephen Cronin is an awesome person. Ron Ranson alone is awesome. And for a while I thought, well, he's not my style. But you know what? When you start thinking that you know it all, and that, or whatever, that's when it's time to reevaluate yourself. And here's another thing. Don't be afraid to, paint. Like this here. Okay, yeah, it looks like I know what I'm doing, but really I'm experimenting. It's experimental. And it's in watercolor. A lot of people say watercolor is one of the hardest mediums to paint in. However, and I'm not even doing this on watercolor paper. It's mixed media paper. Anyways, whatever medium that, and if you're new at this, give it a shot. Give it a shot. If you know somebody that can benefit from, relaxing and having fun, no matter how young or, whatever their age is, somebody's going to benefit from it. Especially someone like me who said, I don't know, I don't think I could do this, Anyways, I'm just scraping here with, a cut-up MasterCard, a cut-up credit card. And I'm very gently doing this. Yeah, it's not real fast or nothing, Anyways, if you enjoy my videos, and yeah, I have a very small channel. I'm new. This is I'm going on my second year right now. My idea is to help and inspire others. Please hit like and subscribe and share it. Again, thank you for viewing, and I want to wish you a wonderful, peaceful, and a good day, evening, and morning, wherever you are, and no matter what level you are of watching this. I hope that you get an enjoyment and learn something, and try things. Don't be afraid to try things. Thank you so much. Sincerely yours, John. Oh, these cards are awesome. You can do all kinds of things. We'll create a little shadow in the stream. Right? Just by doing a little bit of that. Have a great day, guys. I really appreciate you guys watching me. Hey, that don't look bad. That don't look bad out of nothing. Out of a mess.